Welcome to Chronicles and Legends. Please hit that subscribe and let us know where in the world are you tuning in from. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Rasputin. Mystic, madman, vampire. He was called the Mad Monk, a mystic, a prophet, and perhaps something far darker than anyone dared imagine. His name was Grigori Rasputin, a man who rose from the frozen obscurity of Siberia to the heart of Imperial Russia, claiming powers that defied reason and death itself. Born in 1869 in the remote village of Pokrovskoye, Rasputin was no ordinary man. Despite his lack of formal education, he possessed an uncanny grasp of scripture and a gaze that seemed to peer directly into one's soul. In the world of Russian Orthodoxy, he would come to be known as a starets, a spiritual elder, revered for divine insight. Yet this title, usually reserved for seasoned monk confessors, would only be the beginning of his strange legend. Word spread quickly through the Russian countryside of a holy man with the power to heal the sick and see into the future. Rasputin preached repentance, prayer, and mysticism, though rumors of strange rituals and darker appetites trailed closely behind him. By the dawn of the 20th century, his name carried both awe and suspicion. In 1907, fate led Rasputin to the gates of the Russian imperial court. Tsar Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra, desperate and disillusioned, invited Rasputin to the Romanov palace in hopes of a miracle. Their young son, Tsarevich Alexei, heir to the throne, suffered from hemophilia, a mysterious and incurable disorder that turned even minor injuries into mortal threats. Somehow, miraculously, Rasputin appeared to ease the boy's suffering. There were whispers that it was more than herbs and prayers. Was it hypnosis, a divine gift, or something ancient and unholy? Whatever the method, Rasputin's influence exploded. Alexandra became enthralled, calling him our friend and the only man who can save our son. Soon, the monk without a monastery held the ears of the Tsar and the keys to the Russian Empire's most private chambers. Yet, as Rasputin's power grew, so too did the fear and resentment he inspired. To his supporters, he was a saint. To others, a sorcerer, or something far worse. By 1915, war raged across Europe, and inside Russia, the monarchy teetered. Rasputin's perceived hold over the royal family terrified the nobility and enraged the clergy. They called him a devil, a puppet master, a blight upon the empire. Multiple attempts were made to sever his influence permanently, with poison, bullets, and blades. But on a fateful night in December 1916, the final plot was set in motion. Prince Felix Yusupov, along with Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich and politician Vladimir Purishkevich, lured Rasputin to Yusupov's palatial home under the pretense of friendship and celebration. He was offered wine and cakes laced with cyanide, enough poison to kill a dozen men. Rasputin ate and drank without hesitation. He did not die. According to some accounts, he merely smiled. Maria Rasputin, his daughter, would later claim her father avoided sugar due to stomach ailments, casting doubt on whether he was poisoned at all. But the conspirators couldn't take any chances. Worried that dawn would come before they disposed of the body, Yusupov fetched a pistol and shot Rasputin in the back. He collapsed. The nobles exhaled. The nightmare was over, or so they thought. As Yusupov leaned in, Rasputin's eyes snapped open. He lunged, gripping Yusupov by the throat and hurling him across the room. Then, incredibly, Rasputin staggered to his feet and fled into the freezing night. Outside, the conspirators gave chase and fired again. Rasputin was hit multiple times. He fell, but when they approached, he moved again. Only after clubbing him into submission did they finally bind his body and toss it into the icy waters of the Neva River. But even this was not the end. 3 days later, Rasputin's corpse was retrieved. He had been shot several times, beaten viciously, and exposed to deadly poison. But the official cause of death, drowning, His arms were reportedly raised, as if he had tried to claw his way back up through the ice. Some legends claim silver bullets were needed to finally stop him. Others suggest the running water of the Neva, known in folklore to destroy the undead, was the true reason he could not rise again. And then there was the prophecy. Weeks before his murder, Rasputin wrote a chilling letter to Tsar Nicholas. He predicted his own death and warned that if nobles were responsible, the royal family would fall within 2 years. A curse, a prophecy, or a masterstroke of manipulation. If I am killed by the nobility, none of your children or relations will remain alive for more than 2 years. They will be killed by the Russian people. And true to the letter, in less than 2 years, the Romanovs were dead. But if Rasputin truly died that night, why do so many believe he still walks among us? Chapter 2. The Curse of Rasputin. Prophecy Fulfilled. Grigori Rasputin is dead, poisoned, shot, bludgeoned, and drowned, but not before he left behind a chilling message that would haunt the halls of power for years to come. This wasn't just the final raving of a madman, it was a prophecy, one that would come to pass with terrifying accuracy. After Rasputin's assassination in December 1916, Tsar Nicholas II's hold on the Russian Empire unraveled with alarming speed. The war was going badly, the people were starving, and Alexandra, long suspected of letting Rasputin influence imperial decisions, became a symbol of aristocratic rot. By early 1917, revolution swept through the streets of Petrograd. The Tsar was forced to abdicate. The Romanov dynasty, rulers of Russia, for over 300 years was officially no more, but the worst was yet to come. Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 5 children were placed under house arrest. First in the Alexander Palace, then Tobolsk, finally the city of Yekaterinburg. Behind walls, under constant surveillance, they waited. In uncertainty, would they be exiled, exchanged, freed? No one knew, except perhaps Rasputin, who had warned that if he died at the hands of the nobles, the children would not live long after him. On the night of July 16, 1918, orders came from above. The Bolsheviks, fearing counter-revolutionaries might rescue, the royal family gave the command. The Tsar, the Tsarina, and their children, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and young Alexei, were led into the cellar of the Ipatiev house, told to wait. Then the execution squad entered. It was brutal. It was chaotic. Bullets ricocheted off the jewels sewn into the daughters' corsets. Smoke filled the room. Screams echoed through the walls. According to accounts, Alexei and at least one daughter did not die immediately. And here, yet again, Rasputin's prophecy twisted into legend. Alexei, the frail boy Rasputin once healed, allegedly survived the initial volley. Some claim he was stabbed, beaten, and ultimately shot at close range. But others insist he simply would not die. Could Rasputin's influence, his so-called healing powers, have somehow bound the boy to life? Was it a miracle or a curse? In the aftermath, the bodies were hastily buried, then dug up, doused in acid, burned, and hidden. Yet rumors endured. For decades, whispers of Romanov survivors echoed through Europe. None louder than those about Anastasia and Alexei. Nearly a century, conspiracy theories flourished. Escape tales, secret rescues, imposters and hidden identities. Even Rasputin's own daughter, Maria, supported some of these stories, adding more fuel to the fire. Then, in 2007, nearly 90 years later, DNA tests confirmed the discovery of the last 2 missing Romanov children, Alexei and Anastasia. Their charred remains were found in a shallow grave near Yekaterinburg, and yet, even science could not kill the myth. The legend of Rasputin still lingers in the collective memory of Russia, not as a prophet, but as something unholy. How could he have predicted the fall of the Romanovs so precisely? How did he survive so many assassination attempts? And why, in the moment of death, did he resist with the strength of 10 men? In the ancient tales of Eastern Europe, there is one creature who cannot be killed by poison, who rises after being shot, who only dies in running water, whose very touch bewitches and commands. A vampire. Was Rasputin one of them, or was he something worse? Chapter 3. The Immortal Rasputin, Folklore, Fear, and the Truth. Even in death, Grigori Rasputin refuses to stay buried. His name evokes fear, fascination, and feverish speculation. A mystic, a monster, a vampire. The stories never truly stopped. They only grew. In his life, Rasputin was branded a healer by some, a devil by others. But in the years after his demise, the Russian people began whispering something darker, that Rasputin was not a man at all, but something inhuman. Eastern European folklore is rich with tales of the Nosferatu, creatures who walk by night, feeding not on blood alone, but on fear, influence, and life force. These vampires, according to legend, cannot be killed by ordinary means. Poison, ineffective. Bullets, worthless, unless made of silver. Drowning, only if done in running water. Rasputin's killers had tried everything. Cyanide, bullets, blunt force trauma, and still, he moved. Still, he rose. One version of the legend claims he only succumbed after being shot in the chest with silver bullets, then thrown into the Never, and that it wasn't the bullets that killed him, but the river itself. Running water, the ancient enemy of the undead. But could a vampire really infiltrate the highest levels of imperial power? To answer that, we must understand the core of the fear surrounding Rasputin. It wasn't just that he survived unnatural attacks. It was the way he controlled people. He arrived at court an unknown monk, unwashed, unrefined, and uninvited. Yet within weeks, he had the ear of the Tsarina. Within months, he was influencing state policy, and the more powerful he became, the more erratic those around him grew. Whispers in the dark suggested Rasputin used occult charms, hypnosis, sex magic. Some said he could kill livestock with a look, that birds dropped dead when he entered a room. It wasn't just mysticism, it was domination. In Slavic tradition, there are beings known as strigoi, restless spirits of the dead, often sorcerers in life, who return after death with dark powers. Many were believed to live parasitically off of human vitality, not just blood, but the soul. Rasputin, as described by his daughter Maria and others, was known to never sleep more than a few hours a night. His appetite was ravenous. His eyes, impossible to meet. And when he died, the empire died with him. Coincidence or consequence? In the years following his death, the prophecies he made came true with unnerving precision. The fall of the Romanovs, the slaughter of his enemies, the exile of the nobility, civil war, bloodshed, chaos, all laid bare in his letter. I go, and I feel in me the divine command to tell the Russian Tsar how he must live if I have disappeared. Pray, pray, be strong. And yet, despite all this, no tomb contains his bones. After his body was burned by revolutionaries, its final resting place was lost to time. The ashes scattered. The story closed. Or was it? In the decades that followed, strange reports emerged. A man with piercing eyes wandering Siberian villages, a healer appearing during World War II, then vanishing. In Romania, a monastery swore a monk named Grigori appeared in 1939 and never aged. Even in modern times, a few claim to have seen him in Moscow, silent, watching. Who was he? A prophet? A peasant with charisma? Or something the world was never meant to understand? The Russian Orthodox Church never canonized Rasputin. The Soviet Union vilified him. Hollywood turned him into a caricature, mad monk, sex wizard, puppet master. But the truth, it lies somewhere in between. A man who walked out of the cold and into history, who defied death, who predicted a dynasty's fall, and who, even now, may not be truly gone. Was Rasputin merely a man who courted madness, or was he a monster wearing the skin of a mystic? You decide.